Okay, there we go. I finally fixed it. Now we've got some sound coming through. Hello, everyone, and yes, I am the bio-boosted squirrel. You can call me Cypher Zero, or the bio-squirrel, or God, one of the three. Doesn't really matter. So yes, I have come out of my little hidey hole, and I've built this high-tech looking thing here. I actually found it buried in an old alien base and just started using it. It was kind of cool. So I decided to use it, and I filled it up with couple of, the supermodels on the side there. You can see Miss Samasaran, and of course, Doreen Squirrel Girl. Forget her last name. Whatever. So here we are, talking about Miss Alyssa Mercante and her little lolsuit with Smash JT going on right now, where she said, "Oh, the horrible things that you posted that I said about myself on Twitter, you've posted them all up again and made fun of me and rah, rah, rah." No, that's not what happened at all, Ms. Mercante. I think it's about 8 seconds in. I can use that by now. And we had a whole heap of silence before, so there you go. And hello, if anyone's in there. Out in my no one's sitting out on the side yet, so I'm just going to sit here and yap to myself while we do it. So yeah, we've got Alyssa Mercante, the lolcow herself, thinking that she can, do a lawsuit against Smash JT when she originally started harassing his wife. Huh? And she started this whole thing. How does this work? I know you Yanks are crazy and all of that, but how exactly does it work, Alyssa, when you're the one posting all of this shit that just about everyone that's on Twitter is reposting, but you're the one that's getting harassed? Huh? How does any of this work in your mental little brain? Which you probably do need some help, but that's neither here nor there. But go get some, for fuck's sake. So, yeah, here we've got New Black Street saying, the internet believes. Sorry, I can't read this without glasses. Let me put those on. There we go, the reading ones. The internet believes Kotaku's senior editor, Alyssa Mercante, Alyssa Merc, on Twitter, with the underscore there, is coping over her impending lawsuit against Smash JT. She says she wants the lies about me to stop. And again, what lies? You're the one that's posted all of this shit. We've all seen it. We've all read it. We've all looked at it. I mean, for God's sakes, what the hell is wrong with you? Are you Team Alyssa or Team Smash? Well, I don't usually take sides on this sort of shit. I'll go with the people that aren't lying, for sure, if that's a side. And from what I've seen, Alyssa's done nothing but lie from the outset of the whole Gamergate 2 thing. She started it, in fact, with Chris Kindred, when they tried to lie about what Sweet Baby Inc. does, and when Chris Kindred tried to get Kaburutus Rambo's Steam Curator page taken down and his account with thousands of dollars worth of games that he's bought on it. Deleted. Wrecked, banned, gone, out. See ya. No, that's not how this works. So Miss Mercante has decided that she's going to launch a lawsuit against Smash JT. All of the replies here, you can see them. Purposely misled readers during SBI's attempt to sick a mob on a regular gamer, harassed family members of her ideological opponents, and used lawsuits as an intimidation tactic. Team Smash all the way. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's fair. That's reasonable. Who the heck is Team Alyssa besides Alyssa and her mom? The Simps, obviously. She's got what's-his-face on the giant bomb couch, that ape-looking guy. Don't know who he is. I hear he's pretty famous. Colin or something, I don't know. Alyssa Mercante is part of the toxic gaming community. I don't even think she's part of the gaming community. I think she's part of, the social justice warrior side that have maybe played stuff before on a phone, like Candy Crush, maybe? They don't seem to be real gamers to me, because from the very moment I picked up a controller, everyone was welcome to game. Didn't matter what the hell you look like. But I'm Australian too, so there's not a massive, racial divide and issues like this here. We've got them, don't get me wrong. There are definitely racist cunts here. But on the whole, this is an everyday occurrence, it seems, in America, this sort of shit. Over here, not so much. So it sort of blows my mind. And here we are. Anyway, let me bring up my little page here so you guys can read this as I go through this. Hang on, I got stuff for this. I have done stuff before. Okay, so I got to stay on the news desk to talk about that. Showed you some tweets there, and I'll fix that up in the background while I'm doing stuff here. But yeah, we can see all the replies here. You might have to... I mean, yeah. Alyssa's a nutcase. This whole lawsuit that she started, she's going to lose. If she goes through with it. And she said she's going to go through with it. So, there's that. So, yes, Alyssa, look, I don't think this is going to work out well for you. But let's go back to the start of it all. Back when, Alyssa decided to lie about SBI and what they started off. Sweet Baby Inc. Incorporated, started by ex-Ubisoft employee Kim Belair, and there was someone else. I don't know who the other co-founder is. She's the most famous from her little GDC talk where she said, terrify the marketing team with what is going to happen if you don't give us what we want in regards to consultants. And that's the important bit, I think, with a lot of that, where she says is going to happen. She doesn't just sit there and say, this might happen. You might get some pushback from people. This is going to happen if you don't get consultants and push DEI into your game. And that's what this is all about, obviously. DEI crap. Gaming was diverse before all this shit. If gaming, as Alyssa said on the Giant Bomb Couch, was already... If the world's diverse and gaming's diverse, what in the hell do we need companies like Sweet Baby Incorporated for? It doesn't make much sense to me. If it already is happening, why do you need to have these companies and pay these people who apparently don't do anything when you hire them, but they want $7 million out of companies like Game Science to tell them what they're doing wrong with their game? But they don't actually do anything. So which is it? I'm unsure on that still. What do these companies need to exist for if gaming was already so inclusive and diverse in the first place? I'll just leave that hanging there, food for thought. I still haven't heard an answer from that. From anyone? Anyone? Nope, okay. Apparently, I'm talking to myself, so I'm just going to sit here and stream and do this, and hopefully people will see it. I'll share it on X afterwards and whatnot. But yeah, I'm having a rant here. I've been threatening to do this for months, and finally got up to do it. Had a few things happen, but, I've finally got there. So yeah, we've got Alyssa lolcow Mercante. Now, I went and did a search for her on YouTube here. So what do we got? Kotaku activist sues to silence her critics from Vara. We got Alyssa Mercante threatens to sue Smash JT with pathetic. That's from 8-Bit Eric. Obviously, this is going to be biased towards the stuff that I've been watching, but it doesn't look like I've watched that one. So let me fix up the audio for this. See if it's working already. It might be.
Knew this day would come, ladies and gentlemen. Alyssa Mercante's counsel has sent Smash JT a cease and desist letter. I've read through it, and get this. The too long didn't read is that they're mad that he said Alyssa Mercante was a sex worker who used to suck dick before she joined Kotaku. That is what they're upset about. And on top of that, they're accusing him of enticing his audience to attack her, to target her. So they're asking that he retracts the statements that she sucks dick and apologize with their wording and ask his audience to no longer directly target her. So we're going to talk about this. Again, this is not a shock. This is something that I knew was going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if Vera Dark, Grums, Hypnotic, Melanie Mac, myself get a letter similar to this. Now, really quick, I noticed it's dated September 8th. They gave him 30 days to respond to this. Weird. I guess they waited till after she got home from TwitchCon, where she tried to say it was the gayest TwitchCon ever and all this crap. But you can see, if you read this whole PDF, which if any time you want to read anything, feel free to pause. They're trying to use buzzwords to scare him, saying, "We write to you today as counsel for Alyssa Mercante. You've made unlawfully harassing and or defamatory statements about Alyssa. We're writing to request that you voluntarily retract them and publish an apology, the language of which we will suggest to you before we pursue other legal avenues against you."
And that was obviously 6 days ago. This has happened since she's sent the letter. Ron Coleman from Dylan Law has responded and told them to eat sand, basically, pound sand, eat a tailpipe. pound sand, one of the two, whichever one it comes first, or both even. So yeah, that's funny.
Voluntarily retract. If you're being ordered to retract something, you're not voluntarily doing it. And on top of that, they're wanting to control the narrative by making him publish an apology using the language that they suggest. Right off the bat, fuck no. They're trying to scare him. They're trying to intimidate him with buzzwords, trying to make him feel like he's the bad guy, even though there's a lot of stuff on Alyssa Mercante's end that she's not atoning for, right? But that's the modus operandi here with these people is they want you to stop talking about them. They want you to stop criticizing them, even though later in this letter they claim that they're okay with articles and videos written about her. They just don't want it to.
Right, and that's one of the points. She's the one that's put all of the crap that people have reposted about her out on the net. Like, people are just commenting on that. No one has gone and harassed her, and if they have, you shouldn't harass people. By the way, don't go sending DMs and anything stupid like that. Rip on them, like, reply to what they say, sure. Point out the ignorance or the idiocy in whatever they're saying, and just move on. You don't need to DM these people. There's no need for that.
To be directly engaging her. Like, how does...
And I'm going to make that a point from my first thing, from the very first, Rise of the Squirrel. So saith the Squirrel. Don't harass people. It's not on.
That work out.
Don't send them death threats. Don't say you're going to go after their families. Don't contact their families. Alyssa, which you did. You went out of your way to find Smash JT's wife on Facebook and contact her and have a rant at her about something she didn't know who you were, has no idea what he deals with in his side of the video game thing. He does his thing. His wife isn't a gamer, obviously. Otherwise, he'd have her involved with this. He didn't. You brought her into it, though, and that's not right.
Anyways, continuing on, here's the first example of something that he's done wrong. That the statements of her sucking dick is defamatory. So they could say on March 30th or around it, he put horrification. What's that? Like what Alyssa Merc does, sucking dicks in her off time for money. And that he repeated the...
And let's remember, she did actually reply to 8-Bit Eric, and I'm going to go and find that tweet right now while I'm sitting here doing this. He said, how did you get into the game industry to people at large? Guess what her response was? I'll post it up as soon as I've got it. I mean, it's hilarious when she says, people say I suck dick. She posted it. That was her response to it. I'm going to find it. How did you get into the game industry? I'll keep playing this while I do that.
Claim on April 1st saying, in response to her, how do I put this in a way you'd grasp? The Amico was about as much fun as sucking 20 dicks in a row, but instead of being paid for it, I paid $10K to do it in response to one of her tweets. And then he published a video on April 4th saying Alyssa Mercante has since come forward stating that she used to be a sex worker, sucking dicks for money before working at Kotaku, and that he repeated this.
I mean, she did that. She posts pictures of her ass all over the place. She's posted titty shots all up and down Twitter. She has admitted she's an ex-sex worker and that she sucked dick. It might have been a joke. I don't know, but she still said it. So, as a journalist, you want people to take you seriously. Don't go saying you suck dick to get into the industry. It might just be a thing.
Statement on YouTube as his website, and they used links down below for sources. Now, she herself has come out several times. At Summer Game Fest, she even said, I'm slutty, as a qualification as to why people hate on her. Several times.
Yep, she did that.
On her Twitter, she's bragged about being slutty. She even wrote an article not too long ago bragging about how she fucked a dude at a bar that was chauvinistic.
All of this shit that she posts herself, and she then turns around and says, don't use that against me when I say stupid shit.
Towards the appearance of, like, I guess...
Or when I try to use that in a lawsuit against a guy whose wife I originally contacted to say that you're being... That's not going to work, Alyssa. Everyone's got the receipts. You may have been going through crazily deleting tweets the last however many hours it's been now. But guess what? Every single one of those deleted tweets has got a screenshot somewhere, and someone's going to eventually post them up. when this comes to discovery, if you are really serious about going through with this lawsuit, I don't know much about the law, but from what I do know of discovery, you're going to fucking be buried with the shit that you've posted, you idiot.
An actress or something, so that she went and fucked him and he sucked, and she wrote about how bad he was in bed. She's said that she was a sex worker herself. Saying somebody sucks dick is not defamatory. In fact, I would say it's implied. If somebody says they're a sex worker, that they've sucked dick, it's implied. It's that you could reasonably be like, hey, you know what? That means they used to suck dick for a living. What's wrong with sucking dick on top of that? Are you saying that everybody that sucks a dick is being defamed? Imagine writing a legal letter where your first attack on the person is that you said that they suck dick. I'm just fucking...
And that look he just had there was... right. How does that work? Like, how do you think? How does your mind work if you think that the things you've posted that other people have just used as evidence of what you've said? Wow. I thought flat earthers were dumb.
Fucking insane. All right. To me, defamation is saying, hey, that guy's a pedophile. Hey, that guy touches kids. Hey, that guy beats his wife. Saying, hey, that person used to suck dick. I don't know. It's just, this is ridiculous. And on top of that, like I said in the past, she's not innocent. She said all sorts of fucked up shit about people. She's asked.
Found it. Let me drag this over. There we go. Right there. So it wasn't 8-Bit Eric that said, you know, how'd you get in there? Magnus Sanford. I sucked dick. Alyssa Mercante. Alyssa_Merc. Who's also changed her profile picture to a more appropriate one. Just saying.
Asked for dirt on Osmond Gold, on Melanie Mac. In fact, at TwitchCon, she wanted to talk to executives about making Melanie Mac's ban permanent. She's tried to shut down Smash's website with Nick Calandra. She's said fucked up.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's right. She did do that with Nick Calandra, that other clown. Another journalist, urnalist, that... These people are a cancer on gaming as a whole. They're horrible people. They're exclusionary to the point that you know, they hate one group of people, particularly straight white male gamers. That's it. They hate us. Up and down. They want us gone. They want us dead a lot of the time, but you know, that's another thing.
Up shit about Smash. She's contacted his wife. She said stuff about me not too long ago. Her, Nick Calandra, and John Phipps had a little social media campaign against me, trying to say that I'm like some gooner that obsesses over her tits, and that I shouldn't be around children at my...
What tits? She hasn't got... Alyssa's got no tits.
Wrestling school and all this crap. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You can't take the smack talk and the trash talk based on a public narrative that you put out there.
And that's it. That's the point. You put all of this shit out there. If you want to go whinging that it's out there, you shouldn't have put it out there. And then you couldn't whinge about it, people using it when it comes up. You're not very bright, are you, Alyssa?
This is wild. Now, continuing on, they're defending that she doesn't suck dick. They're literally saying these statements are factually false, and you knew they were...
Ah, really? Because I've got a screenshot for that. There, right there. There, see that? There.
False when you made them. Alyssa has never come forward stating that she's engaged in the conduct you claim. There's a gulf between solo nude modeling and engaging in sexual acts for money, a gulf you were aware of when you made these statements. Again, saying that you used to be a sex worker, openly saying that you're slutty. It's implied that there could have been sexual conduct, especially when you're writing articles about your sexual experience with a guy.
Yes, in the chat, Liam. Hello, everyone that's joined. Thank you for coming into the Squirrel Den. Welcome. Yes, the bio-boosted Squirrel is ranting about urnalists in the game industry. So yeah, I mean, this chick's trying to be shocking every other day of the week. I think that's why she did that whole "come fight me physically, bitch" thing, because people are going to be shocked by that. They know. She particularly, sorry, not they. Alyssa's a she, they, whatever. Alyssa knows that people, if they responded to it, and of course Mara Jade and Vara Dark would have gone and fought her, but she backed out instantly. They're cowards. Nothing but.
Guy in a bar, again, everything is just self-contradicting yourself, and essentially you're butthurt because there's a narrative about stuff that you put out publicly. That's the fucking issue here, is that you're thin-skinned, and sending cease and desist letters is going to cause a Streisand effect. People are going to make content about this because it's sad. It's genuinely sad to see somebody go off the deep end this much, that attacks and puts this front on their social, that there's some kind of badass that could punk anybody out and roast all of them, but behind the scenes, you're crashing. You are crashing. So they literally are saying that he made these with the knowledge that they're false, that he made these statements, that these statements are not mere insults, trash talk.
These statements all came from Alyssa herself. So yeah, I'll link the video here in the chat down below afterwards, and I'll cut and copy that, obviously. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, we'll stop with that one, because there are other things I wanted to go over. I wanted to not only talk about Alyssa, I wanted to talk about Chris Kindred, obviously, the guy that was involved with Alyssa in starting Gamergate 2, and you know, again, exposing just how rotten gaming journalism is. Because, again, if Sweet Baby Inc. don't do what we think it is, which is extort games for money to change characters, race swap them, change story beats, whatever else, make it fit the DEI agenda, which, you know, look, me personally, I got no problem with gay people, as long as they're not trying to, you know, fuck other things that they shouldn't up. Or you know, no problem with people unless you're an asshole. In general, that's me. Don't care who you are, what you look like, what you do with yourself in the bedroom. Just don't try and we don't care when we're trying to play a fictional video game to get some escapism from the world. In general. That's not what I'm playing Resident Evil for. All right? Why would you play a video game to live real life? I don't think anyone does that. I mean, sure, The Sims, that's a thing. Yeah, it's weird. I don't understand it myself. Sim City is kind of cool, where you can build a city and you don't really can have control over people. And I think people that play The Sims have got a god complex, personally. You know, because you can lock them in basements and get them to do all sorts of weird shit. Kind of funny, yeah, watching what some people would do, but there you go. So yeah, well, that's that for now. So we'll go back to the news desk. There we go. Zoom in and out. I love this thing. The teleporter does everything for me. So yes, that's Alyssa. So moving on to Miss Ash Parrish, who again is another urnalist who writes for The Verge. And when all of this stuff started coming out, she's the one that apparently, let me pull up my Discord thing on this. Alyssa decided, sorry, not Alyssa. These people are interchangeable. Ash decided that when she was researching what was going on with Cabrutus and the other, you know, the people in the Discord server for SBI Detected, I think it was originally called, Ash was having a chat with people and decided that, you know, she didn't want to exactly, let me bring this up. There we go. I love how that works, and I'll just have to do this. So here we've got Grum saying journalists tried to claim Gamergate 1 was only, I think Gamergate 1 isn't the one they're talking about there, Grums. I think it was 2. Only 10,000 gamers in this one. The original one I didn't even look at that much. I had to go and read up about it. I knew about Anita Sarkeesian and her involvement, and then I found out about Zoe Quinn and all the rest of it, and how she was sleeping around with journalists to get positive reviews on a Depression Quest game, whatever. So that's, you know, again, where the truth in the journalism thing comes in. But, you know, this one is Gamergate 2. That might probably just be a typo. They're trying to downplay it. So you read this wrong. Haha, I nearly did read that wrong. I interviewed her. Editors told her that giving an accurate timeline may make it seem as if their outlet is trying to imply the backlash was to some extent deserved, a stance they wanted to avoid. Let me go back over to the video output here. Zoink. So yes, Grums. Journalists try to claim Gamergate 1 was only 10,000 gamers and no real impact. They're trying this again, except blah, blah, blah. So, I interviewed her. Her editors told her that giving her an accurate timeline may make it seem as if their outlet is implying the backlash was to some extent deserved, a stance they want to avoid. And here we can see, I think it's a Discord chat. So this is obviously the end of it. Nash is saying, I hear you and I understand that this is where we part, ideologically at least. I'll share this the conversation I had with my editors about this, because in preparation for my piece, I struggled with this particular bit, and the conversation I had really helped me understand. Cabridis and his ilk have a grievance against Sweet Baby Inc., which, again, Ash was not long ago on a Black Girl Gamers thing with one of them and Kimberly herself. Again, trying to say, oh, you guys don't do what you want. So what exactly do you do? Is the question I've got. What exactly does Sweet Baby Inc. and Black Girl Gamers and all the rest of the other, I don't know, there are hundreds of them I'm sure that haven't come to light yet, but there may be sooner rather than later stuff on that. See what happens. So what do they do? What do they get paid for? That should have given everyone time to read that too. So, Cabridis and his ilk have a grievance against Sweet Baby Inc. This is rooted in racism and misogyny and has no basis in the reality of how video game development works. Well, is that what happened? Or did they start noticing that there were certain games involved from certain companies that had this other company attached to them in the credits somewhere, maybe? Is that what happened? I don't think that's what happened, Ash. That's it, period. Oh, okay, that's it, period, according to Ash. So when you get into the nitty-gritty... Where does that go? Here we go. And when you get into the nitty-gritty of who did what when, not obviously the who's and whats, that are necessary to explaining the story, that central premise gets lost. So yeah, let's just ignore how, Sweet Baby Inc. was involved and how Chris Kindred decided to try and get this, page, that if he hadn't Barbara Streisand, it wouldn't have blown up to, what is it, nearly 500,000, I think now? Something like that. We'll check that later. Yeah, that was a great idea, Ash. And lying about it and getting caught lying about it this way, this happened not long after. To me personally, I have to remember what my piece is about, ultimately about. Lying about what Sweet Baby Inc. does. And it's not about providing a timeline of events of things that actually happened. No. It's bigger than that. It's about explaining the reason you're hearing about this company called Sweet Baby Inc. and Gamergate 2.0 getting thrown around is because there's a group of people who have decided they hate woke video games and found a convenient scapegoat to target and a larger conspiracy to underpin it. No, that's not what happened at all. You're a disingenuous, lying piece of crap, Ash. Absolutely, that's not what happened. Nope. I refuse to even entertain that crap. You're a liar. So I'm going to go and find that whole thing where Black Girl Gamers and Ash Parrish and Kimberly were in there. Ash Parrish, Kimberly. That should do it. If they haven't privated this. Okay, no, well, I don't think they've privated it. Here we go.
Hello, and welcome back to the Black Girl Gamers Online Summit. Welcome to the last panel of the day. I know. I hope you've had an amazing time, and we are...
And go ahead and try and come after me for this, Black Girl Gamers. I put up a disclaimer at the start, and I'm going to talk over the top of you twats. I'm going to do this.
Going to end this with some authentic, real conversations about the industry, something that I know a lot of us wanted to talk about and experience, and during the time we could not. So this is going to be a pivotal panel. In this panel, we're going to use Gamergate as the backdrop, and we'll discuss the realities of gaming culture, the intersections with gaming.
Yeah, please let me know if there's audio issues, guys. I'm just trying to get everything sorted out. I'm adjusting stuff on the fly. I'm kind of new, but not new to this.
People can be...
I haven't done it for ages, so yeah, please, I'll turn my microphone up. There we go.
Accountable allies. I'll be joined by Ash Parrish.
Now, when they say accountable allies here, this woman means, people who are going to just, Jayanne Lopez. she, her. The allies she's talking about are just people that are going to agree with us and won't give us any pushback on the shit that we do.
Staff writer at The Verge, who writes with a focus on covering marginalized gamers and their communities, and Kim Belair, CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., a narrative consultancy based in Canada. Kim has worked as a writer, narrative designer, and consultant on projects such as Sable, God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, and many more. So
she also worked on Far Cry 4. If anyone ever wondered how Pagan Min came about to be the way he is, that's how. Kimberly, that's where it's... I think that's probably one of the earliest things I think people can point to now that Kim Belair was involved with. She used to work for Ubisoft. She's in the credits of the game.
So let's meet our panelists.
Liars. Let's meet our liars.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me on this conversation.
It's so diverse. 3 black women, so diverse. I've got so many other race representation here. So much. No, they don't. Sorry.
This is obviously a very...
How are you inclusive when you exclude other people that don't look like you?
Topical and sensitive subject. So first of all, I just want to thank you both for being here and for being willing to share your experiences. I know we've all, myself included, been targeted by the phenomenon that is Gamergate, and I firstly want to start off with thanking you for your bravery to be here and speak, but also now leading into the panel, tell me briefly.
See, I haven't actually watched this. This is a first for me too. But holy shit, your bravery in coming out and speak. What the hell?
About your experiences during the Gamergate phenomenon. We'll start with
bravery during the Gamergate phenomenon. That Kim Belair, the woman right in the center there, her employee started. Don't forget that.
You, Ash.
Just ignore it because, that's inconvenient to... And of course, with Ash there, yeah, ignore the shit that actually happened. Just focus on, whatever... If people have sent death threats or whatever else to these people... And I've actually tweeted 2 black girl gamers and said, look, can we say some of these alleged death threats... The harassment that you've received, because we should be condemning that. I'd condemn it on Twitter if I saw it, but I haven't seen it. The made-up phenomenon. Yes, Liam, yes.
And just give me a brief synopsis of what you experienced.
So, I am a video game journalist, and...
A liar. No. You're a liar, and that's about it.
And if you know nothing about Gamergate, one of their main hated enemies more than anything is a video game journalist who is not afraid to speak truth to power. And
what the fuck does that even mean? Speak truth to power. What is that? Is that just word salad? That sounds like word salad to me.
My experience with that whole chicanery is that they popped up. I went and embedded in their Discord and listened to the kinds of things that they were saying and why they were saying those things.
Now I have a border, and I'm commenting from the side.
How this second Gamergate is a bit smaller and sadder than what it was 10 years ago. And, whenever you write about those kinds of things, it really kicks a hornet's nest over. And so you get all these kinds of negative attention on your social media, in your email.
Again, haven't seen any of it. If you're getting this sort of shit, you should be posting it up, and those people should be condemned and held accountable for the shit that they say. I have no problem with this.
Those kinds of things. I've gotten death threats to my voicemail that I've had to, call the FBI about, and that's just...
And if that's happened, good, and I hope the FBI finds them. Don't do it.
It's just what happens when you try to do your job as a journalist and write about these things that are...
But see, that's the thing, Ash. When you say that, you're not doing your job as a journalist. I just posted up the screenshot that shows you quite clearly going out of your way to lie about what actually happened.
Happen in a truthful and authentic kind of way, and sometimes people don't like that.
Lies.
Yeah, and Kim, I know obviously with the company and the good work that you've done, your organization and yourself were huge targets in this phenomenon. Tell us about your experience as well.
Yeah, I would say I think of us almost in as like patient zero of this wave of Gamergate, in that I think when I think of it as where it started, it was kind of the week that we had announced that we were on both Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2, which are two, I think, popular games among the game community.
And again, games where you can quite clearly, like, okay, Miles Morales is Miles Morales for starters. He may have Spider-Man's powers, or, you know, actually more nowadays as far as, Jesus Christ, that hurts my head too. Anyway, Miles is Miles and Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Players in general. And immediately I think the targeting began with this kind of like, we found this secret sinister website from Sweet Baby Inc. Meanwhile, we're on Twitter like, I've been so excited to let people know that we worked on these two really great.
Yeah, but no one actually sort of started paying much attention to you, did you? Did they really? I mean, it wasn't until your employee, Chris Kindred, decided to go, oh, well, the guy that's actually pointing out the games, you had them listed on your website, so I don't know what the problem with Cabrutas posting them up and saying, well, look, these are sweet, you know, DEI infested games. I think that's what he was doing.
Games, and the assumption was essentially made that our work on that had not been story or narrative or character related. It had been to make a black character exist in Alan Wake 2, and I think to put pride.
Well, let's say Saga Anderson, and I think she's talking about Saga Anderson here, but she originally was written as a white character, was filmed as a white character in a short thing for it, but then all of a sudden, and it's funny how these characters in these games end up looking almost identical to Ms. Belair here, with the side afro thing going on. If you have a look at the latest Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League Season 3, Lawless, Kim Belair, self-insert. South of Midnight, the main character in that is a Kim Belair self-insert. This woman, and she's in the GDC talk saying, I put myself in all of these stories. No one wants to see you. We don't care what you want to put. We don't care about you in stories. We care about stories that are interesting with good characters. You're as boring as batshit, woman.
Pride flags in Spider-Man 2, and that was kind of like the assumption that we had wokeified the video games, and then that led to as a company we worked on over 80 games together, so there was plenty of fodder for people to start.
So 80 odd games that these people have been working on for years and years and years, and injecting all of this. Oh, white gamers suck. This is I'm starting to freak out a little bit about all of this crap, because this has been building up for months. I've been sitting on the sidelines watching all of this unfold, and I've been thinking, should I do this, what I'm doing now? This sort of shit is just idiotic.
Start going, oh, is this the reason that all of these games are now woke, that they have people of color in them, or queer people, or any marginalized identities at all?
One of the reasons.
Or even sometimes that, they perceive like, oh, this woman's design is not quite as it used to be, and I think it used to be hotter. So there's a lot of stuff that's been put on us, both things that we did work on, things that we didn't, and then we kind of just became shorthand for.
They put you right,
the
Liam. You're right. The games are so batshit boring because all it's got the focus on is what the character's skin color is, what their hair looks like, who they fuck, what's between their legs. It's boring. No one gives about that shit in real life. Why in the fuck would we want to do it in our video games?
Quote unquote of gaming.
Yeah, I think
create characters. Make an interesting story around them. Make a game that works with those characters and the powers that you come up for them, or whatever. Go back to doing it the way that it was done in the mid-90s, early 2000s, up till about all of this shit started happening. Everyone that has even the slightest white skin color to them, because apparently people, Asian people are white adjacent, so they're apparently, and that'll bring me to Assassin's Creed Shadows later on, because Yasuke was not a fucking samurai at all. Kosho at most, and I'd never heard of the guy until the Netflix thing came out. And I was like, okay, obviously I didn't know it was based on an actual person, but the guy wasn't a samurai, that's for sure.
We all saw it, and with Sweet Baby becoming essentially, they used your company and yourself as a synonym for what they describe as wokeifying gaming, really. And similar to your experiences, we experienced death threats for the team. The team were worried.
Again, Haven't seen a single one. You shouldn't be getting death threats from anyone. That's not right. But again, you haven't shown any evidence of this.
About putting on this summit, hence why we've held it in this platform in general, because there was a lot of relentless harassment, death threats, emails, comments to a small team. And one of the things that actually also affected us as well, and I know affected you both, is libel and slander, like things that were not actually true but being spread around.
Libel and slander like what? Let's hear this. This would be interesting.
Around companies and similar to us. So there's a blurred line between the content creator.
Oh, wait. I think I know what she's talking about. She's talking about the fact that they actually illegally try to exclude people from job listings. That's what she's talking about. That's right. I remember that. That Park Place reported on that a while ago, about 6 months or so, just after this all started, when Black Girl Gamers decided to poke their nose up and go, oh, we're here. Look at us. And got found out for some illegal hiring practices, apparently, where they, shouldn't be saying, oh, we want people of a particular look and gender.
Creators and journalists, Ashley.
So that wasn't a lie. That's not libel or slander. That actually happened.
How can gamers discern the difference when it comes to consuming mis or disinformation around people and
But get something like, oh, I don't know, Stellar Blade, good game, but yeah, it sucked that they did the whole costume thing.
Companies when it comes to Gamergate, how can people discern?
But Korean companies seem to know what gamers want to do. Chinese companies seem to know what we want. Black Myth Wukong sold 10 million units in its first 3 days.
So what you want to do is you always want to consider your source. You can get your opinion.
Oh, consider the source, eh? Consider the source. Well, let's, okay. Oh, I did the wrong thing there. Consider the source, she says. Righto. I'm not gonna, you as the source, Ash, you don't want to actually give a timeline about who did what and where and when. No. Okay. Consider the source. I'll do that.
With Sweet Baby becoming, essentially they used your company and
I obviously went back a little bit further than I should have there.
Which is a vertical of Vox Media. There's Polygon. There's IGN. There's Games, a big, tentpole sources. Your reliable sources are going to be like your big, tentpole legacy media kind of places. I work for The Verge, which is a vertical of Vox Media. There's Polygon. There's IGN. There's Games.
7 out of 7 IGN. The guys that also wrote a hit piece about the developers of Black Myth Wukong, Game Science, Rebecca Valentine. No, they're not reliable. Sorry.
There's GameSpot. There's all these different legacy.
GameSpot, not too sure on. Never really checked them out. Don't know how good they are or whatever else. But, you're right. And Liam, yes, you're right. It's important to them, so they think it's important to everyone else. Just like it's not. No one cares. Like, all gamers want is a good story. I mean, we had a fucking monkey running around hitting things with a stick, and it sold 20-odd million copies. I think it's up to now. We don't care what you look like. Just make a good game.
Video game websites that have been around for a very long time that have a vested interest in making sure that the things that they share with you, the things that they write, are up to journalistic standards. There are other...
See, this is what happens when you formulate an echo chamber. Happens with all sorts of things. Flat Earth, gaming journalism. When you start locking yourself into people that only ever agree with and reinforce the ideas that you have that you think are right and whatever else, you're going to end up with a group of yes men in an echo chamber where you can start doing some really horrible shit, all the while thinking you're the good guys.
They're like smaller hobbyist sites that you may want to, depend.
Smash JT is a hobbyist site. Yes, good call.
Depending on if you know the author or are familiar with their work, that you can continue to consume their work, but just make sure that anytime you're reading something that's like news-based, like actual factual information, that you are consuming them from reliable sources.
Well, thank you very much for that very handy-dandy little tip there, Ash. I'll do that. I'll keep the sources in mind when I'm looking to read something or listen to a video on something. It's not about providing a timeline of events. Bigger than that. Don't actually tell people what happened. So you, Ash, out the window. You're unreliable. Sorry, can't do it. Not going to do it. Not going to trust you.
And then we hear all of this, like, so along with the slander and the libel, we obviously got a lot.
There was no slander or libel. You actually tried to hire people based on their ethnicity and gender. No slander there. That's why you didn't sue that Park Place.
Of death threats and slurs in our inboxes, and not even just for us, for our team. I know, Kim, your experiences and your team went through a lot, but
we've been through some stuff.
Yeah, you've been through some things, so please talk on that, and then also please talk on what is this idea of wokeifying gaming really? Like, what is that when people talk about that?
I mean, I think it's part of a...
All right, I think we can stop there. We've all pretty well covered that anyway. What methodology should provide for working out what a reliable source is? That's a great question, Liam. Excellent question. Excellent question. Oh, here's another one. Kate Bush's husband, one of the Sims. This guy. Let's have a look at him. What a twat this guy is. Like, these are the people you're dealing with when... Look, he's got porn in the background. I probably shouldn't be showing that. Anyway. Like, what the hell is wrong with these people? There has got to be something seriously wrong. Again, is this a cult? Are they a cult? Are we dealing with a cult here? And yes, hashtag don't harass people, Liam. I like that. So saith the squirrel. I'm going to post that up in a tweet. So, but yeah, don't harass people. Just point out the idiocy that they're saying and deal with it that way. You don't have to harass people. You don't need to threaten death on them. If you don't like... And this has come out again with the Ghost of Yotei thing, where apparently even Sony's shocked that they're working on a game with a female protagonist, and Erika Ishii has come out and jumped up and down and blocked people left, right, and center just because someone said, oh, you should probably block these accounts on Twitter because they're gonna come against you. They're gonna go against you or something like that. She is one of the wokies, what I'll call them. She's one of these activist, DEI loving people that even their side thinks she's crazy. From something I read or heard somewhere on a video this morning somewhere. I mean, I don't know if they need Jesus. They need to take a long, hard look at the way they do things and how they deal with what they claim is harassment and criticism is not harassment. That's an important distinction to make. It's like criticism is not harassment. From what we can see here of what Ash says, criticizing her for saying, "Oh, I'm not going to, list this. I'm not going to give a timeline of events." That's criticizing her for saying, "I'm going to ignore this to post something because my editors told me it looks like the backlash is to some extent deserved." And it was, and it still is. And this is why gaming journalism needs a flush. Like, people like Smash JT that actually play video games. 8-Bit Eric. Myself, I'm a gamer, so I'm going to include myself in there. Who else we got? We've got Geeks and Gamers. That lot, they're all gamers. Most of them, as far as I know, I'm subscribed to them. I've been floating in and out, and I don't watch a lot of stuff much anymore, but I try to keep up. But when you've got people like this guy and like Ash Parrish and Kim Belair and Jayanne Lopez, like, we're not the liars. You guys are the ones telling lies and bullshitting and calling people horrible fucking things and contacting their wives. And what the hell is wrong with you? Seriously. What? Grow up. Grow the fuck up. That's all I can say.
It's the greater movement, right, towards a lot of like very far right thinking and a lot of very.
And that's another problem. Far right thinking. I live in Australia, bitch. I'm apolitical. I don't give a fuck about politics in my own goddamn country. What the hell makes you think I'm going to care about yours? I don't give a crap. I'm not playing a video game for the politics in it. I'm playing it for the story. If the story's got some politics involved in it and they make it in such a good way, in a way that it fits with the game, cool. Wouldn't have a problem with it. But that's not what's happening.
Regressive material that's kind of just being pushed out across a lot of different, or at least like in a lot of the audiences, a lot of different industries are currently kind of talking about that. And obviously the political landscape is kind of led to a lot of this. But I think for a lot of people, it really...
Game Science made a game that didn't have any... It had a monkey running around hitting things with a stick. Nothing political about it. Whoops. I'm getting excited.
It really comes down to they see a change that they themselves did not expect. They see a change that they can't fathom that, you know, their beloved companies or their beloved teams would ever make themselves. And so they kind of assume that anyone who comes in who looks like myself or other members of my team are the interlopers, right? Like our job.
See, this is some of the most disingenuous shit I've ever listened to. Seriously, do these people get up and just tell lies on like as a thing daily? Is this are they in such a rut of lying that they can't recognize that they're lying, or are they doing this deliberately? I don't know which it is. I think it might have been to the point where they had to convince themselves at some point that this shit was right. And look at the look on their faces. They're all sitting there going, "Oh, I think even they can tell that this is bullshit."
Can only be tied to our identity. It's speaking of misinformation, I think the biggest thing for us during this campaign is that I would say that, you know, any kind of, you know, sensitivity work or consulting work in, you know, cultural consultation probably represents about 15% of our work, where the vast majority of it is actually, you know, writing, narrative design, joining writing teams, helping.
Oh, so they do actually have an involvement with the story and everything else. Oh, well, that's not what people keep trying. Alyssa keeps trying to tell us that you don't do anything like that. Which is it?
Support writing team, sometimes being the entire writing team for a project or helping with mission design. But the part that really gets,
so which is it?
You know, everyone
you
assuming
do this shit or you
don't.
don't.
Can't possibly do that other work because all we are is, you know, quote unquote DEI, and we became labeled as this DEI company when
Yep.
the facts of the way that we work are that someone calls in and says, hey, we're making something, we've made a bunch of choices, we'd love you to either help write, help look at them, help talk to us. And, you know, even sometimes our cultural consultation is as specific as, you know, it's job consultation. We had to hire a meteorologist at one point to do a consult on a project. And I think that idea of authenticity for people, if you say like, oh, we hired a lawyer because we have to, you know, write about lawyers, no one would ever bat an eye, but they can't imagine that you'd want to bring in someone from a specific background or country or experience.
See, focusing on the identity of the individual people, like, you're not making games for them. You're making games for pretty much straight white male people. At the end of the day, the majority of gamers, when you don't count the Candy Crushers, it's something like 90% of the population of gamers around the world. I'm going to ignore the United States. I'm going to include everyone that games around the place, and that includes China, India, Thailand, Australia, everywhere that isn't the United States. You guys need to pull your heads out of your asses and realize that the rest of the world exists. Kim's in Canada, so I don't know. She's stuck on that continent.
Experience to talk about this. And I think there's also this idea that, you know, if a game company is reaching out to external people, that's because they're missing something or they can't handle something.
Is it, or is it the BlackRock money that they get handed because of it? I don't think that's entirely true. I think Kim knows this while we're sitting here talking about this. BlackRock is very heavily involved, and Larry Fink is on record saying we have to force people's behaviors. Okay?
And not because, you know, in the very real world of creation across many different media, people talk to each other. People have writers' rooms. Directors and writers of huge movies go to each other.
Which, again, is probably not a great idea in and of itself, a writer's room. A room full of 50 people trying to write a story. That's why we've had such horrible shit like The Acolyte. Made no sense story-wise. Broke Star Wars canon in a lot of places. No idea how Kamir knew who Osha and her sister were in the first place. What connection he has with the cult of lesbian space witches and why he wanted to chase down the Jedi that killed their lesbian space witch? How does that work? How did Camille know who they were and that the lesbian space witch colony was killed by the Jedi? And why did he want to get revenge on those particular... Who the hell knows? They didn't
each
know.
Other's houses and talk and do, punch-ups to each other's scripts. And that's kind of, how creativity works. But
no, it's not!
Yeah. It's very sad to see people doing a lot of the most progressive work become a lot of the...
yeah, we're going to be so progressive by going backwards and reversing race roles to the 19 whatever hundreds. No.
Harassment in this the phenomenon that was Gamergate, and it was based on a lot of hypocrisy as well, because we saw the hypocrisy of a lot of gamers saying that they and Ash, I'm sure you mentioned this before, saying that they want to make games, but then when marginalized people or people who if the studios then want to include marginalized people, it's their force to do so.
Yeah,
and
I was actually
feel free to talk on that.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to bring that up because it's interesting that a lot of these Gamergate arguments is that they want developer autonomy. Like the developers should be able to do whatever it is that they want, and they shouldn't have to
they shouldn't have to be extorted into paying, a large chunk of their budget, $7+ million, I think Sweet Baby demanded out of Game Science, to come in and tell them that, oh, no, you're all wrong, this is wrong, we're going to change this, and you're going to do this, otherwise, guess what's going to happen? We're going to cancel you, like Kim Belair herself said. We'll find that in a minute,
to some
too.
kind of ESG corporate overlord that controls their purse strings, when the reality is, with the way that video game development works and with the way video game consultancy works, they have already made those choices. These are the things that you see, the things that they hate, the things that they decry as woke are the choices that they have already made, and they want to improve them, which is why they bring in people like Kim to help make sure that the things that they have already chosen for their games are as best and as authentic as like not insensitive or relying on stereotypes as they can be, so they can resonate the way that these developers
I found that. I'm going to stop Ash babbling on here now because she's a liar and a piece of crap, and you really shouldn't pay any attention to her. We'll get Kate Bush's husband's ugly mug off there, and we'll throw this up. Now, this is the GDC talk that Kim Belair herself did. Let's have a look. And again, fair use, I'll talk all over the top
I'm
of this.
Kim Belair. I'm a writer, I'm a narrative designer, I'm extremely nervous, and I'm the co-founder of a little narrative development company called Sweet Baby Inc. We do narrative development in games and kind of beyond, and we try to bring a lot of inclusion, diversity, and new ideas kind of to the industry. So, just as a kind of fun fact,
don't care.
who look like me,
this is
and
where she
kind
says,
of a rainbow of people
I
who
always used
were
to
kind
put
of
myself
adjacent
into
to me in a lot of ways,
the stories that I wrote.
And I think it was really neat.
Self-inserts.
To the point that I received a list that I'm sure many of you have received.
You're not allowed
that was, here's a list of authors and stories that are legitimate. Here's a list of people and stories that are important. And as you can imagine,
by
they
white
were
males. Scroll through this crap.
And I did that for years. And I spent like actual years just writing about white men, because I are you only telling stories that fit the dominant narrative? I would never have said yes. But I think that a lot of people end up doing it even as they're saying we have to do better. It's important to do that. It's important to share like all of those things. I think that
we can do better.
And I was faced with like
Risk
a very simple decision.
Sensitivity rating, which is apparently
and choosing my ex was
see now this is all just again personal projection on her part. I'm going to skim through this until we get to the bit where she says terrify them.
Thank you for this. Not nerving as because we're innovation team. Not too much risk assess media. What could
because this is I have watched this. And this is as boring as batshit.
Prioritize form of innovation. And
she just waffles on about herself and how she's so marginalised and black people in general are so, it's only ever black people these people complain about being marginalised. Apparently they're the only marginalised group in the world.
Eat all long face.
She calls gamers picky babies. We shouldn't be catering to picky babies. We don't want the picky babies' money. Well, your modern audience apparently don't want it either.
make
Let's have a look at all this.
building a
Concord.
world
That was a
and
great
a story,
example
and you're
of a
including
flop,
characters and
wasn't it?
concepts
This
that are
year?
borrowed
Holy
or
shit,
inspired
$400
by or
million
based
for
on
that
the
piece
lives.
of crap.
Be afraid to create moments that are
Good luck with that.
your
She's waffling on in the background.
terrify them
somewhere.
with
There we go.
and if they don't
So-
put that request to them very, very early. Then what would the deeply offensive thing we did is this for a white dude that you're aiming at your core demographic and
Here
you're
we go. I'm
probably
gonna play this
invisibly
bit.
leaning towards the dominant societal voice, even if you don't realize it. And if you're in development and you are part of like that dominant voice, you're like a cis hetero white dude or just adjacent to that, do not wait.
I wonder what just adjacent to that is. Like, that's another thing. What does that mean? How are you, like, what does that mean exactly? Just haven't gotten an answer for that either.
Wait until the end to call your consultants. Bring them in at the beginning, and instead of asking them, hey, is this very racist thing we did very racist? Or is this deeply offensive thing we did deeply offensive? Are you hurt by it? Ask them what they want to see. Like, ask them what would thrill them, what would bring them joy. And if you have a team lead, put that request to them very, very early. If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years,
Yep, we know.
put this stuff up to your
At least now we know. People are going back and having a look at your history now, aren't they? Going back and finding all the shit you've been involved with over the years.
higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
Of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want. And that was the bit that I really wanted to highlight here. A lot of people sort of don't focus on that when they're talking about this. She actually says, we're going to send a mob after you if you... That's extortion and terrorism. This woman is a fucking terrorist. Like, how that is not threatening in any way, shape, or form is beyond me. I have no idea. How do you get away with that sort of shit? Oh, wait, you'd be Kimberlaire. A marginalised person of colour. She, they, whatever. Utterly ridiculous. Ash's little tweet there. So, yeah, I mean, we're not dealing with a particularly nice bunch of people when it comes to this whole, you know, gamers versus the rest of the development shit with journalists involved with that, people sleeping with other people for good coverage of your game, etc., as happened with the original one. I don't know. But anyway, I think I'll leave it there. I've been streaming for about 70 minutes, just over an hour now, so we'll leave it there. I'll go for another look around. I'll come back later on. Hopefully I can get some more people involved in this, and I've got the whole bio-boosted news desk thing set up. It's, you know, it's going to be a thing. I'll go back to that. See? And I've got a little... See how I've got the other microphone there? That's for someone else to pop in on. Let me see if I can bring that up. Aha. My guest can pop in and fade in. I've got a transporter. It's kind of like that fly thing. Hopefully it doesn't make mutants, but we'll see what happens. So I'll close that off. And any guests that want to come on, I'm here. The squirrel has been awoken. The gamer urnalists are going to regret this shit. They pissed me off to the point where, yeah, no, I'm going to point out what you say. And if you want to try and send a lawsuit my way because I've reposted what you said, Alyssa, go nuts. I'm here. You're going to have to find out who I am first. But I don't think that's going to happen. Plus, trying to sue me here in Australia might be hard for you. So, yeah. Thanks for joining everyone that came along. Spread the link around. Get it posted out and shared around. And, yeah. Thanks for joining. Had a fun time. I'll be back. I don't have an outro yet, and I don't have a hypnotic thing yet, but we'll come up with something.